Mark, I'll start with you because you have young kids. We've been talking about this education crisis since 1965. It's been 50 years, and it seems like every level of government has failed to give our kids the skills, the talents, and the education they need to be as successful as they can be. All you have to do is look in the inner city, look at Appalachia, look at poor areas of the country. Doesn't matter what state you're in all 50 states there are schools that are failing. What is the role of the president in education, and what specifically would you promote? Because our kids are not getting the quality of teaching they deserve.
Well, I agree that our K-12 system in America is deficient and that it's not preparing kids to compete in the 21st century, but it really isn't the role of the federal government to run the K-12 system. That belongs to state and local communities. That's why we don't need Common Core, and quite frankly, that's why we don't need a Department of Education. I do think, as the biggest payer of higher education, we have a vested interest in what higher education is promoting, and that we need to re-examine and quite frankly, modernize what higher education means in the 21st century. For starters, it must mean more career and vocational training. Some of the best paying jobs of the 21st century require more than traditional high school, but less than 4 years of college. And at some point in our history, we started telling kids that trade school were for the kids that weren't smart enough to go to college. Well, that isn't true. Trade school are for the kids that at 18 years of age want to make $50,000 as a welder, as an airplane mechanic, as a car technician. And we should be training people to do that. We should be opening up federal financial aid, not that they have to wait till they're 18 to use the Pell Grant. They should be allowed to use it at 16 and 17 to go to high school in the morning and trade school in the afternoon, so when they graduate, they don't just get a high school diploma. They are industry certified and ready to work, because there are good paying jobs in these careers, and we're not training people to do it.
But if the local communities are failing their kids, and this is a fact, and I would not want to have this discussion in Mississippi, but there is a huge difference in the quality of education in the public schools of Mississippi and the public schools of Massachusetts. And it is the right of Mississippi to make those decisions. But aren't those kids suffering as a result?
And the answer is that then you need to get better state legislators, better school board members, a better governor, because it is the local government. Well, let me say this. If you put the federal government in charge of K-12 education, you're not going to be happy with the result, because that means you're going to have to go to Washington, D.C. and try to influence some unelected, unaccountable bureaucrat at the Department of Education. That means you're going to have to travel to Washington, D.C. and get Congress to pay attention to something. They're only going to make it worse. I honestly and truly and fully believe not only does it constitutionally belong at the state and local level, but you will get better results when the people making those K-12 decisions are the people closest to our people. And I would make one more point. Schools are important. They teach kids how to read, how to write, and these sorts of things. But many of the issues we face in our country go back to the fact that something that was mentioned earlier. The family is breaking down. The family is the most important school our children will ever attend. And if you don't, because no one is born with the right values. No one. Values have to be taught to you. And they can only be taught in strong and stable families. And so if you look at academic and ultimately economic underperformance in America today, there is a direct correlation between that and the breakdown of the American family.